So today I want to talk about music. I was watching Emma's Blackery video about the album she's obsessed with, the albums that like change your life. So I thought I'd do the same. When I was like 5, 6, 7, I didn't really have any musical interest. I loved, Aqua and Spice Girls and Britney Spears and pretty much everything that my older sister liked. So I just follow what her likes in music were, but I didn't have any taste of my own. I was about 10. I think my sister used to put on Avril Lavigne, Linkin Park and Evanescence, and those were like my introduction to like music that was a bit moody and a bit, a bit different from the one that I heard on the radio. Not like the youth today. They've got the internet and they've got music, from all sides. I was really obsessed with the Under My Skin album. Well, I couldn't tell you. And definitely that was like one of the most submersive, one of my first submersive experiences of listening to music. Also, there was this song that I was like really obsessed with that completely blew my mind. It was this remix by this song called Because I Love You by Stevie B.
Got your letter from the postman just the other day.
And I recommend you Google it because it's such a great song. But I was really obsessed with it, and for me it was like my world it suddenly expanded. I remember like listening to it at night instead of going to sleep, and it felt like really strange and like magical. When I was in Italy, those were kind of my main musical interests. I wasn't like a massive music nerd. I think I turned a music nerd later on, but until I was like 12, 13, 14, I was like, yeah, I like music, and I knew of these artists, and I knew about pop culture reference, but like I wasn't a nerd. I was just socializing, just having a social life. When I came to England, I basically didn't have any friends. I moved and I didn't speak the language, so I definitely spent way more time listening to music. I wasn't like super internet savvy. I just knew that internet existed, but I never really used it that much. I didn't really watch TV either. So I kind of like just listened to what was in the house, what my parents had around, and The Cure were like my obsession for like a couple of years. It was pretty much all I listened to. It was The Cure. I was reading Wuthering Heights whilst listening to The Cure, and that was like, and during winter in the UK, in the middle of the countryside. But yeah, The Cure is just, and they're still one of my favourite bands of all time. Robert Smith is the one that pops out a lot, and I think he's one of the main writers in the band. I don't know, it just vomits one song after the other. It just seems to have a inexhaustible creative mind. Probably my favourite album would be Kiss Me, Kiss Me. The Kiss, just because it's got all of that. I mean, the introduction of The Kiss, I think it's called The Kiss or Kiss Me, I can't remember. Incredible. I suggest you go listen to it. He's definitely very experimental, but at the same time he's very accessible. I also like the Japanese Whispers album. It's got some of their most pop-oriented tracks, like the one about all of them. I love The Upstairs Room. The Upstairs Room is such a great song, such a good rhythm, and I definitely recommend you go check it out now if you haven't already. It's such a good song. I don't think I could know anyone but you, that's for sure. I think I've exhausted my brain's tolerance for The Cure by listening to it a bit too obsessively. After The Cure, I began sort of exploring music a little bit. using the internet, using YouTube. I discovered YouTube actually. That was like probably like the most significant thing in my life, probably in anybody's life, is discovering YouTube. Once you discover YouTube, your taste for music will gradually expand. An artist that I discovered that definitely shaped my musical taste massively has been Björk. I knew Björk from when I was 4. Oh no, probably not 4, like 5, 6, I can't remember exactly. Mum made me put on the Post album in the car once when we were driving, and I just remember being absorbed in this like incredible world, and I thought this is like the most amazing music that I ever heard, and I still got that picture in my mind, very vivid, and it was like super colourful and super crazy, and it's like the first time you do LSD or something. And I remember there was a song where she was shh, you know, a classic song by Björk. It's Oh So Quiet, and I remember that she was going shh, so I put shh song on YouTube and it came out. In those years I began discovering new artists such as Radiohead. And again, Radiohead is just another of these bands that you say, oh yeah, of course, you know, as any respectable music lover, you will have heard of Radiohead. But for me, because I wasn't like a music fan necessarily, I just sang in choirs and I just liked music, but I wasn't like a nerd. During my kind of depressed as fuck years, The Fall and Depeche Mode were constantly being played. I still listen to them now, and I don't find them depressing anymore, maybe because depression has just become such a natural part of me that I'm like, yeah, might as well be happy about it. Always been a fan of Genesis more. I know Peter Gabriel fans will hate me for saying that, but I really prefer the Genesis. Also Jethro Tull is definitely one of my favourites. And 19, I became really obsessed with piano music, and all the you know, Einaudi songs, all of the Ghibli. All the music by Isaichi Joe, I think that's his name, I think. But yeah, I love his music, and I'm a massive fan of piano music, and I started playing the piano. This is about the period where I started to play the piano and just compose a little bit of my music just for fun, but really crappy songs. Then I also got to know Dead Can Dance, which also became one of my favourite bands. And along the same period I started learning Arabic and listening to Arabic music, Arabic pop, Japanese pop, Korean pop, basically pop from other countries. Oh, then I came into university, and actually I was, as I said, I was totally not a nerd about music until quite late. And when I got into university, I started listening to more and more music, sort of collecting lots of. So I just become that person, that nerd that would just spend time on YouTube, like trying to find all the different artists, and you know. So there's a few artists that I can think of that really changed my musical taste in recent years. And some of the big names that come to mind, and there's loads of them, but some of the biggest names would be Grimes. Oh baby, I can't say that it's okay. Visions, Alifaxa, and basically everything she's. Who else? Oh, recently a band that I can think of is Glass Animals. You can't run, so you must hide. You won't make it back this time. Really, really good band. I definitely recommend it. Clean Bandit, also one of my favourite pop bands of recent times. I'm missing out a lot of people, but this is sort of like the big names. I'm not a massive music nerd. I mean, I am a music nerd, but I'm not one of those people who knows literally every artist. But I love music, I love making music, and I love learning more about music. So if you have any good music that I should listen to, please write on the comment below. That would be amazing. That's it.